Good morning, Barrie. And good morning, freedom in Barrie. You know, the last time I was in Barrie, the municipality was kind enough to give me a ticket, kind enough to give me a little present. And it was up on my wall, along with 25 other of those presents from around the province. And we're in court. And the judges and the justice system wants to keep delaying. But I'm going to keep speaking and speaking and speaking. You know, I was going to say something, but then when I was standing up here, I saw something that has been really troubling me for quite a number of months now in Ontario and Canada. Every time I drive down the highway, drive past a provincial building, a federal building, I see our Canadian flag at half staff every day, for months on end. And that's just, it tells me something. It tells me a terrible thing. Our governments don't want us to be proud of Canada. They've got the flag not proudly flying at full staff, but at half staff. They want us to be ashamed of our freedoms. They want us to be ashamed of our heritage, our culture. They want us to be ashamed of ourselves, and that's why they fly the flags at half staff throughout Canada, throughout Ontario. We have to raise the flag high. Raise the flag high with freedom. And we will. And we've got that opportunity on September 20th to put that flag back up at the top where it belongs. We've been on a slippery slope for a long, long time. That term, slippery slope, I've heard it so often, it's become cliche and just about meaningless over my lifetime. We're always told, be careful, you're on the slippery slope. For everybody here, we know we're at the bottom of the slippery slope for the last 17 months. The bottom. But 4 national political leaders want to push us deeper. They want to push us over the cliff with mandatory vaccines and permanent lockdowns. They want us in a permanent state of terror and fear. There's one national leader who wants to climb back up that hill. And I'm going to be climbing that hill with him, along with everybody here, and along with everybody in Canada who wants freedom. We're going to climb up that hill together. We're going to get back to the top of the mountain. We're going to have Canada, the top of the world, full of freedom, full of justice, full of democracy, and without fear and terror. You know, for the last 17 months, now we're into our 18th month of a 2-week flatten the curve, of 2 weeks to not overwhelm our hospital system. 2 weeks for just the vaccine that will be as soon as we get 70%. And then as soon as we get 80%, and as soon as we get 90% of people vaccinated. Well, really, it's when 110% of us are vaccinated, then they might change that goalpost to a steady one. But this is 17 months of causing people to be away from their families, away from their children, away from their grandchildren. Not being able to celebrate the life's accomplishments of a loved one who has passed away. Not being able to attend and celebrate the union of a couple in marriage. Not being able to have friends and families over for Thanksgiving or Christmas. This has been a terrible, terrible terror that they've done to Canadians. And I'm going to say, it's been unwarranted. It's been unneeded. We've known that since at least April of last year. Our governments have been dishonest, duplicitous, deceitful to us all for 17 months. They know they've lied, and you can tell a liar because a liar keeps telling another lie to cover up the first lie. And I won't trust a word they say. But on September 20th, Canadians are going to choose. Are they going to stay on that path of fear and terror with Trudeau, O'Toole, Singh? Because they're all the same thing. They don't want anything different between the three of them. Or are we going to take the path with Max? Are we going to take the path to freedom? And I'm going to say, you know, a lot of people don't realize this. Don't realize this. There's 6.5 million Canadians who are opposed to mandatory vaccines. They're not getting the jab. The last federal election, Justin Trudeau won that election with 6 million votes. We can all do the math. All do the math. 6.5 million people can vote and get us back on the right path. Okay? Our job is to show those 6.5 million people that there is an option, that there is a choice. We can all do this together. We can all climb that hill together and take this new path. Join up your local PPC campaigns. Sign their nomination papers. Volunteer. Make phone calls for them. Knock on doors. Put lawn signs in the yard. Tell your friends and family members about the PPC and about freedom. And encourage them to get off the couch on September 20th. We can't win this if people sit on the couch and say to themselves, oh, I'm only one vote, I don't make a difference. Nonsense. 6.5 million people. And we saw what happened the other day in Nova Scotia. When people get off the couch, for the first time during COVID, an incumbent government fell. We've had 3 previous provincial elections. The incumbent government always won. But this week, the Nova Scotian government, who was demanding the mandatory vaccine and the mandatory passes, the people of Nova Scotia were honest with themselves. They were honest in the ballot box. And let me just tell you one other little story about Nova Scotia. There was one member who earlier this year was attending anti-lockdown rallies in Nova Scotia. One member out of the whole legislature. That person got kicked out of their caucus because she had the audacity to express herself and to demand freedom. And everybody tells you independents can't win. It's only the big parties. Well, on Tuesday, that independent MLA won her seat as an independent MLA. With over 50% of the vote. So you can believe the surveys, you can believe the polls, or you can believe this. There's a great many people in Canada who have been reluctant. They've been apprehensive, indeed sometimes fearful for their jobs and their family relations if they spoke truthfully about what they know about COVID. And they've had to self-censor themselves and be quiet. But at the ballot box, you can be honest. You can be truthful. Those people spoke out on Tuesday. We need to speak out on September 20th. And we have to spend. I'm going to spend every day and every hour until September 20th, encouraging people of Canada to stand up and to be free. Join Maxime Barrie, join me, join the PPC. Let's climb this slippery slope together. Together we'll get to the top. Together we'll win. Together we'll have freedom. And I want to introduce Maxime Barrie, a rich, strong heritage. It was forged and made when French and English stand and fight together. September 20th, French and English Canada, Quebec and English Canada are going to stand together. We're going to stand together like Max and I, like all of us, and we're going to get our country back and be at the top of the hill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you very much. A real freedom fighter. Thank you. So, you are here today, like me, like Randy, because you know that without freedom, there's no Western civilization values. Without freedom, there's no human dignity, equality of rights, and prosperity. And you know that our freedoms are under attack. Under attack by the medical tyranny, by the Trudeau, the Conservative, the NDP, and all these establishment political parties, under attack by also the woke and the leftist media that don't want us to speak. They are canceling us, they are censoring us on social media and everywhere. But I can tell you that will end. That will end because we're going to work together. And Justin Trudeau said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that we will need a vaccine passport to travel across the country in plane or in a train or a boat. And he's asking federal civil servants to have a vaccine passport, the 2 shots or 3 or 4, because we know that that won't end. It's always more and more and more, like Randy said. Actually, in Quebec right now, it was supposed to be, okay, we'll stop at 75% of the population vaccinated. Now they said 95%. And they said in Quebec yesterday, you'll have to wear a mask and social distance all the time. So we are fighting against that. And you know, I want to have a smarter government in Ottawa that will respect your rights and respect our Constitution and give more autonomy to you and the provincial governments. But I want to have fewer civil servants in Ottawa. But I must say today that I'm with them. They must fight because they must have the right to work for the government without having to show a vaccine passport. And Trudeau said, speaking to the federal employees, they will have consequences if they don't take the shots. You know, and Trudeau said, you will be punished if you don't take the shots. I'm saying here right now to Justin Trudeau, he's the one that will be punished the 28th of September. And The cancel culture will have to end. Will have to end. But, like I said, when I was arrested in Manitoba, after a political gathering, I was put in jail, handcuffed, like a criminal for a non-crime, just after a political gathering in a park. That was political repression in 2021. Like in Russia and in China, they didn't want to hear the other side. What they decided to do, I had a huge rally in Winnipeg. They didn't want me to be there, so they put me in jail for 10 hours to silence us. But I can tell you, I will be back in Manitoba and we will fight together for our freedoms. But like I said, when I was arrested, when the police asked me, do you have any weapons? Anything that can hurt me? I look at him and I say, what? Weapons? I said in my mind, do you know that, I'm a politician and I don't travel with weapons? But I said, only my words, only my philosophy. And I can tell you, yeah, freedom, freedom. And I can tell you that I will use my words as my weapons, and I will use my weapons all across the country during this campaign and after this campaign to tell the truth based on facts and on the science. But I don't want to be alone. I need you. I need you to use your words as your weapons like me. And if you do that, we will win that battle of ideas. I'm a proud Canadian, and we are proud Canadians. But enough is enough, and we have a nice opportunity, the 20th of September, to express that to Justin Trudeau and all the other establishment politicians. Actually, the good news is this Saturday, I will know if I'm on the stage against these elite politicians to debate in the national debates that will happen in the beginning of September. I will be there. I believe that I will be there because the only condition for us is to be at 4% in the polls, but we are at 6%. But I believe that really we are more than that. Maybe we are at 20%. I don't know, but something is happening in this country. I can feel that common sense revolution, it's coming. But when I'll be on the stage, it will be fun. Because we're going to have an opportunity to speak to Canadians through the mainstream media. I said during this campaign and before the campaign with Randy and all the other fighting for ending the lockdowns, I said to Canadians, turn off the TV, turn on your mind. But there's an exception. The exception will be during the debate. I hope you'll turn on the TV and you'll see a real fighter for you, for our freedoms. And you'll see I will be able to answer all the questions. And actually, what I'm saying about our freedom, it is very important. Because right now, O'Toole, Jagmeet Singh, Trudeau, they're all on the side of socialism. And I'm saying to former conservatives and people who believe in our country that there's hope. There's hope. If all together we fight for what we believe, we will be able to win that battle. Because when tyranny becomes law, revolution becomes our duty. And that's our duty to fight for what we believe. They don't want to have the real debates on the real issues for this country. Now, with that $350 billion deficit, we are paying for it right now. Trudeau said yesterday that it's not important. Inflation is not important. But we are paying right now, and our children and grandchildren will pay for these deficits. With the new tax, the Trudeau's inflation tax, today we know that the inflation is at 3.7%, and if you go and do your grocery, it will be more than that, 5-6%. Inflation is a hidden tax. It's one of the worst tax because the government is telling you, you can keep your money in your pocket. We won't tax you. We won't take your money in your own pockets. But you won't be able to buy the same amount of goods and services with that money. We call that inflation. We are losing our purchasing power. Everybody is poor. That's happening right now because of Justin Trudeau and these establishment politicians. We will stop that. You know, 20% inflation is not good. 3% inflation is not good. 2% inflation is not good. We will ask the Bank of Canada to stop to print money out of thin air and creating inflation. We will ask the bank to have a 0% target inflation. And like that, we will keep our purchasing power. Now we are losing our purchasing power, our way of life, our Western civilization way of life. I don't want a show-me-your-papers society. I don't want a poor, everybody will be poor with that inflation tax. And when I said that, show me your papers, I want to speak to Canadians that decided to have the vaccine. As you know, we are for freedom, so we are for freedom of choice. Everybody must be free to decide if they want the vaccine or not with the right information, with informed consent. But I'm telling Canadians who decided to have the vaccine, whether you are vaccinated or not, it is irrelevant because now every Canadian will have to show their papers. The vaccinated one will have to show a vaccine passport. The unvaccinated ones will have to show maybe a COVID test or something like that. And I can tell you, these vaccinated Canadians understand now and more understand that it was supposed to be 1 shot, now it's 2 shots, and it will be 3, and now the booster shot. All that will end because these people will come and on our side, and they believe like us that we must be able to live in a free country like we were before COVID-19. And, you know, we love this country. We want this country to be like it was before COVID-19. And we need to do a lot of bold reforms. One is ending all that spending, that COVID spending, to be able to balance the budget. Cutting the CBC, we can save $1 billion there. Cutting all the funding to mainstream media, we can save $600 million there. And they will have to find money from their viewers. And you know the beauty of that, if they're not able, if Canadians don't want to give them money, they will go bankrupt. That will be it. We call that a capitalist system, and yes, we want the media to be independent from the government, not dependent from the government, and if they're not good, Canadians won't pay for it, so they go bankrupt, and that will be the end of these leftist, socialist, mainstream media. So, we have a lot of work to do together. And yes, I want you to use your words as your weapons, like I said. You know, we had 300,000 votes at the last election in 2019. If only every one of these voters find 10 more voters, that will be 3 million votes. And we will be at 16% in the poll. So we can do that. I'm traveling across the country and I feel that common sense revolution, that freedom revolution, but we cannot do alone. I believe that Canadians need our voice, the BBC voice, the only freedom voice, but we and all our candidates across the country need your support and your vote. And that's the only way we will be able to win. But we will have a real freedom voice in Ottawa after that election. I don't know how many of our candidates will be elected, but I won't be alone, I can tell you that. And we will do these debates in Parliament. We will use all the parliamentary tools to do these debates. We'll use the parliamentary commission, the question period, and we will be that debate. We will have that debate with Canadians. That's so important to try to tell them that fear, you cannot always live in fear. That was successful, but that must end because we have the data on our side. And like I said, you know, I decided not to take the vaccine because I look at the data. I look at the statistic. And for a man 58 years old, my chances of dying from COVID are only 0.5%. So if I have COVID, my survival rate is 99.5%. That's why we must explain that to Canadians. If you're under 30 years old, you have more chances of dying from the seasonal flu than from COVID-19. All these draconian measures must end. And the PPC will be there with you. I'm looking forward to debates during the national debates. But also, like John F. Kennedy said in 1961, I like to quote John F. Kennedy because that quote is actual for today. He said in 1961, in the long history of the world, only few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its maximum hour of danger. You are that generation. This is your role. And now is the time we must defend freedom against these authoritarian government right now. And I'm saying to Justin Trudeau and all these other establishment politicians, just watch us. You will be punished. You will be punished by Canadians for what you did to our country the 20th of September. So let's do the fight together. Following me, following your candidates on the social media, speak to your friends. That's the beginning of a nice common sense revolution. And actually, you know what it is, a common sense revolution here in Ontario. You had one a couple of years ago, but now it must be all across the country. So I'm doing that. I will always travel and fight for what I believe. You know, I'm not doing politics based on survey and polling. We are doing politics differently because our platform of this campaign is the same platform that we had in 2019, and it will be the same platform in 2025 because we are doing politics based on principles with conviction and passion, and we will always do that for our country. So if you don't know why you must vote for the PPC, it's simple. The other options suck. That's why you must vote for the PPC. So thank you very much for your support. Stay tuned, fight, fight, and fight, and we will win that fight of ideas. Thank you.